Lee County Sheriff Marceno started his law enforcement career in 1998, working part-time for the Suffolk County Park System in the Long Island area of New York. And a year later, he moved to Southwest Florida.
Now, to work in law enforcement in Florida, Marceno had two options: take almost 800 hours of police academy training, or go through what's called equivalency of training, or EOT.
Quite a process, but in a four-in-your-corner investigation, this took months in the making. Myself and Frank Cipolla teamed up to reveal big questions about how Sheriff Marceno got his first law enforcement job in Florida.
So why won't you talk to us? Sir? Don't you think the people of Southwest Florida deserve some information on your educational professional qualifications for this job, sir?
And our Fox 4 investigation uncovered other unanswered questions as Sheriff Marceno's car drove off. With records showing Marceno did not meet the requirement of working full-time for a full year, how was he able to get a job? Our investigation found someone in authority vouched for him. Fox 4 found this document. It's a sworn statement, an affidavit signed in 1999 by Administrator John Brown at the Police Academy at St. Petersburg College. As you can see, question number 8 says, does the applicant have 1 year full-time of sworn experience? There was an X in the yes box, even though there was no written proof that he worked full-time. When I called the academy to see if they even had such proof, they said they don't keep records for more than 4 years at a time. When I asked to speak to Mr. Brown about why he signed the document, despite Marceno having only worked part-time in New York, I was told Brown retired 6 years ago and is traveling and unable to be reached. Another discrepancy. When Marceno first applied and got hired at the Naples Police Department in 1999, it was under one big condition. He had to pass the state officer certification exam within a year's time. FDLE records show Marceno failed in his first 2 attempts. Naples police would terminate Marceno about 9 months after hiring him. After being terminated from the Naples Police Department, Marceno went back up to Suffolk County, New York, and worked in a seasonal position back at Parks and Rec. However, FDLE records show Marceno did eventually pass the state certification exam in October of 2002. That means he does now meet that requirement to be a law enforcement officer, although there is no paperwork showing Marceno was ever eligible to take the test. That leads us to another gap. As Marceno started his employment with the Lee County Sheriff's Office, the department's application asks every candidate to mark full-time or part-time for all previous jobs. Marceno's application was filled out except for the section that asks if he was full-time or part-time in the New York job. Marceno was applying to an office then headed by Sheriff Mike Scott, who often made a point of publicly declaring he held his employees to the highest standards. I reached out to the former sheriff and brought up what appeared to be inconsistencies in Marceno's employment history. He declined to be recorded, only to say that he hired Marceno from the Collier County Sheriff's Office, where he was considered a fully certified deputy, and said that he thought he did a great job for LCSO and continues to do so. Zalisco, experienced in the hiring and firing of officers before, believes the people doing the hiring should have noticed the missing response in the application.
If I was reviewing that application, I would ask that individual, you need to check that off, or why aren't you checking it off? You know, what's the issue?
Is it a red flag?
Yeah.
Professor C says, while some of this seems technical, there's a bigger and more important picture here. And Florida law clearly states what qualifies and disqualifies a person from being a sworn officer in Florida.
We have a rule of law here. The law applies to everyone, including law enforcement officers. Otherwise, we lose respect for the law itself.
Now, we put all this documentation that Frank and Jane and the rest of our team have been going through, all the information on our website, so you can see it all for yourself and decide what you think of Sheriff Marceno's qualifications on getting his first law enforcement job in Florida. You'll see it all when you go to fox4now.com.
I need to make mention, when I talked to those experts you just heard from, private investigator Walter Zalisco and criminal justice professor Pamela C., I didn't tell them who I was talking to because I really wanted their unbiased interpretation. I also turned to Dr. Dave Thomas. He's a senior fellow with the Police Foundation, a former police officer himself. Playing devil's advocate, I asked him, why should we care? He said, it's a matter of ethics, the basic foundation of the profession.
Understand that the position of that, let's say chief or sheriff or whatever we're talking about, that position, the position is always respected. It's not necessarily the person in that position is respected. So we respect the office, but you don't necessarily respect the person who sits there, and for whatever reason, And you'll see where agency is divided, where people respect that person, and other people think that individual is useless.
All right, so earlier we just showed you a shorter version of our investigation. If you want to see the full report, again, visit our website, fox4now.com.